There are some stars who are just naturally good at being bad, and Bobby Cannavale is quickly developing one of the most impressive on-screen villain resumes around. In Thunder Force, Cannavale gets to have a whole lot of fun with his conniving alter ego, the King. His newest contemptible character is someone who wants political and physical power as a leader of the so-called miscreants. This comedic villain is the latest in a long line of Cannavale's collection of screen scoundrels. To celebrate his newest movie, here's a look at some of Bobby Cannavale's most iconic villainous roles in TV and film so far. Anyone who caught Cannavale's breakthrough role as Chip Rossetti in Boardwalk Empire's third season may be hard-pressed to see the actor as anything but a ruthless psychopath, because his performance as the vicious gangster is truly unforgettable. From his very first appearance in the show, Rossetti makes his thin skin and penchant for violence known by clubbing a good Samaritan to death and stealing his dog over a very small insult. The character soon goes on a tirade filled with elegantly crafted insults and threats for everyone in the room during a kitchen scene that became an instant standout in Cannavale's highlight reel. Even at the very end of the season, when Rossetti finally gets his comeuppance, the character's short temper and wild unpredictability is on full, unnerving display.
I'm Barney Google, with the googly eyes, and I never, ever take anything personal!
In real life, Cannavale is a much more jovial and non-threatening person than Rossetti, but the actor admitted to InStyle magazine that his trick to crafting even his most devious characters like this is to bring a little something of himself to the role. The actor said of Rossetti, "There's a part of me in there, a part I keep to myself. Somebody told me a long time ago that your character should always have a secret, and it's true. What makes someone compelling is what he or she hides." As a result of the character's curious combination of brute viciousness and extreme sensitivity, Cannavale considers him to be one of the funniest parts of his career. Another of Cannavale's most colorful small-screen villains is his Mr. Robot character Irving, who is a true enigma in the USA Network sensation's third season. Irving arrives as a soft-spoken and intelligent man who will absolutely axe a person to death without thinking twice about it, except perhaps to come up with a clever witticism about the situation as it's happening. Irving is a fixer for the show's shadowy Dark Army forces, and although he's certainly capable of acts of extreme violence, he also uses his technological talents and clever wordsmithing to get his way.
Balance is key.
Irving is more subtly sinister than some screen villains, which makes even his most innocuous encounters layered with dread. Take, for example, his tension-filled conversation with a fast food cashier, who refuses to let him claim a free milkshake reward. The young woman seems stunned when he presses the issue. When he then pauses their chat to answer a call that quickly turns morbid, all while looking her directly in the eyes, her face immediately morphs into one of frozen terror.
I agree. That's not good. Is he dead?
As this scene and so many others indicate, Cannavale's portrayal of this rather chipper baddie is oh so fun and also quite effective. Speaking of Cannavale's ruthless characters with some playful nuances, before Thunder Force, the actor faced off with another Melissa McCarthy character in Paul Feig's 2015 action comedy Spy. His character Sergio De Luca is the right-hand man of an international terrorist. But instead of being a straightforward villain role, Cannavale's portrayal of De Luca is intentionally hammy.
My buyer will have it in the middle of New York City and use it next week. So, you know, if you haven't seen Phantom yet.
Cannavale specifically enjoyed giving the character his vain sensibilities. Even his run is hilariously goofy. And yet Cannavale still manages to make him the type of guy you wouldn't want to cross paths with. Throughout his career, Cannavale has had several opportunities to work with legendary director and producer Martin Scorsese, including on Boardwalk Empire and his short-lived series Vinyl. So when he got the chance to star in Scorsese's The Irishman, he jumped at the opportunity. In the film, Cannavale portrayed Felix Skinny Razor DiTullio, a former butcher turned gangster. Skinny Razor is influential in getting Frank Sheeran into the good graces of the Mafia, providing a crucial connection to the Buffalino crime family that will change the course of Frank's life forevermore, for better and for worse. Cannavale portrays Skinny Razor as a reasonable and gentlemanly mobster, and the actor told Black Film that he and Scorsese set out to present this character as a sort of front door to the criminal underworld.
I can deliver you steak.
Could you?
I could. Good price, too. The best.
We'll talk later.
In this scene, Scorsese impressed upon Cannavale how important it was for the actor to convey that this meeting was a make-or-break situation for Frank's access. Cannavale said of his depiction, When he's eating the steak and he meets Bob's character for the first time, Scorsese really wanted to get a sense that this guy was the entryway into this world. Cannavale's Ant-Man character Jim Paxton is not your classic film antagonist, especially not where the Marvel Cinematic Universe is concerned. You won't find him looting planets for special rocks or leveling a major city just for kicks. At the same time, though, Scott Lang thinks he's the single biggest threat to his own status as the father figure of his family. It's no easy feat to thread that needle between portraying a film hero's personal nemesis and maintaining that innate likability as an individual, but Cannavale does a marvelous job of making Paxton a perfectly nice guy who audiences might just love to hate on principle anyway. One scene that perfectly reveals that balance in Cannavale's performance is Ant-Man's birthday party scene, in which Scott shows up unannounced to his daughter Cassie's party, and Paxton has to grit his teeth and keep it cool in front of his stepdaughter, while also reminding Scott that he's been slacking as a father and wasn't actually invited to the shindig.
What are you doing here, Lang? I haven't paid a dime of child support. Right now, if I wanted to, I could arrest you.
It's good to see you too, Paxton.
Perhaps the strength of Cannavale's performance in this role is owed to the fact that he and Paul Rudd have a long-standing personal relationship with one another.
I know who you are.
What?
In fact, it was Rudd who initially encouraged Cannavale to take on the role in Ant-Man. Their off-screen friendliness certainly translates a bit more effortlessly in the second installment, Ant-Man and the Wasp, in which Scott and Paxton have developed a much cozier relationship than before. For the 2017 sequel/revival of the Jumanji film franchise, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, Cannavale stars as a new version of Professor Van Pelt, a corrupt archaeologist and non-playable character who used to be partnered with Dwayne Johnson's Dr. Bravestone. In this new vision of the character, Van Pelt is obsessed with an ancient jewel called the Jaguar's Eye, and when he steals it from the sacred shrine, it casts a curse on the land of Jumanji.
Bring me that jewel! And slaughter anyone who tries to stop you.
As with many of Cannavale's finest bad guy performances, he gives the role a bit of a campy flair that helps keep the lighthearted mood of the video game-style movie intact, even as he's using ferocious creatures to attack the film's heroes on his behalf. Van Pelt may be a tough cookie who wields the power of the entire jungle, but Cannavale ensures that he also wears his biggest weakness on his sleeve, so that he can believably be outsmarted by a group of teenage gamers before all is said and done. Cannavale's considerable Broadway skills came in quite handy for the 2014 reboot of the classic musical movie Annie. In the film, the actor portrays Guy Danlily, the slimy political advisor to billionaire mayoral candidate Will Stacks. Cannavale told ScreenSlam that he styled the character to be a, quote, Karl Rove figure, who is more than willing to manipulate and use even the most vulnerable people to get his way.
Whoa. I gotta feed the hobos? Don't say hobos, say bums.
Unlike some of his other villainous counterparts, Cannavale knew that since this was a film for kids, he had to be a bit more like a standard bad guy, but he still had a lot of fun with the job.
Oh, great, here they come with the pictures. You got a distractor, something whimsical. Let's get into a leaf fight.
In Thunder Force, Cannavale gets to bring together the best of both worlds of action and comedy villains. He crafts a character who's both deadly serious with his plans for total domination, and who's also hysterically self-defeating. As the King, Cannavale presents a man who has big dreams, and the vocal cadence to convince voters that his path is the one to follow ahead of the big mayoral election. But behind the scenes of his stirring speeches, we see a man who is afflicted with self-doubt, and frankly, utter incompetence. He can't even keep tabs on which henchmen he has and hasn't killed in a fit of rage.
Kenny, call her.
You've killed Kenny.
I did.
Yep.
Who's left?
Andrew's left.
I can call, sir.
Fine.
Oh, call. Okay, yeah. Sorry. Laser, do you copy?
Cannavale had a tall order to present the King as someone who is legitimately scary, but also a bit absurd, and the actor absolutely nailed it.
When you add on things like superpowers and this kind of genre, then you really just get to play it to the nth degree, don't you? And really get to have fun with it.
Well, as I like to say, when life gives you lemons, make lemon-flavored napalm.
It's the greatest saying.
Call the news conference.
Thanks for watching. Click the links in our video to watch more from Netflix Film Club. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get the latest exclusive videos. Plus, hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.